Oh, the music is hot.
Nice.
Much like
Excellent.
the content. We are live once again. It is time to do it.
The Harris
Heller music. How are you, man?
Good. Yeah, I'm good. Yourself?
Show 99, my friend.
99. Yes. It is.
So excited. Lots going on.
Some cool stuff. Yeah, some cool stuff.
Huh?
Yeah, some cool stuff.
Yeah. All right. You know, we're going to go ready here just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
10
Ready?
seconds. 5, 3. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Today is
What's going on?
February 24th, 2022. Hello, Corey. Not Your Average Show back on the
So
air.
it
What's
is.
going on, bro? How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Yeah, going well. No problem. Yourself?
I'm good. Yeah, it's,
Yeah, cool. Awesome.
the weather
Excelente.
is improving in our area. So that's nice. We're
Mhm.
getting into our nice springtime row here where the trees are all changing. Like this is our spring, right? So that's nice. It's cool. And
Yeah.
and tomorrow we got some news. Stuff should be coming in. We got a lot on the well, first of all, what's up with you? Like anything good? What's good? What's good? What's good?
Yeah, no, nothing too much to report. Yeah, just keeping on. And as you said, also enjoying the weather a bit. Trying to get outside, enough during the day to just enjoy it as it does warm up a bit some. I mean, I like it when it's pretty hot here most of the year.
Yeah.
But some of these cooler days when it's like, 75, but low 70s, light breeze, clear.
Yeah.
That's like perfect for me. That's my favorite time.
I agree, and we are hitting that stride where we got about a good 6 weeks where that weather kind of sets in, right? Which is nice. Which is really nice for this time of year. Next week's supposed to be even nicer. Supposed to be like a little cooler, and the nighttime temps hover right around 60. So if you're sitting out and you want to go sit by a fire or do something outdoors, it's great.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
this lasts right up until about mid-April. Sometimes you can get away with it till mid-April. Occasionally beginning of May. Usually mid-April, we stay in that 80, 85 range. Which is,
Yep. Not too much looking forward to the 100, 95, 100 humidity 1,000%. That's not always my favorite time of the year, but
no, I agree. That is not always the best.
you know,
Although I will
it is what it
say,
is.
one of the nice things about what back in the days of the airline flying part was that I always knew when I got home because I could be in the coldest, crappiest place on the West Coast in the mountains.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And the minute that cabin door opened, and I was usually in the front, and that moisture hit me as I got on the jetway because it just hadn't been sucked out of the jetway yet. And I was like, oh, I'm home. I'm like,
it's like walking into like a big bowl of soup.
Yeah.
It hits you and you're like, oh, we're back home.
Especially February, March, especially this time of year where we would still like if I came home like at this hour, it's like 75 degrees out, right? And I had just left a place that was probably like 30 or 16 degrees and I'm out of Denver. And I'm like, oh, this is terrible. And I get out, finally get to my car in the parking lot. And after 4 days, my skin just soaks up the moisture. And I'm like, I'm looking forward to the drive home.
Yeah.
With the sunroof open, the windows down. And it's just that beautiful driving weather. And it's nighttime. And you're just like, oh, that's great. You're exhausted. On that note, white 2022 Golf R.
Yes.
I don't think I'm going to see a blue one.
That's super cool.
But I have started the process of acquiring a 2022 white Golf R, which white with wife approval, which is great. She's happy about this one because this one's not going to be a manual, unfortunately, so she can drive it. Non-manual. Okay. So there's that. So that's going to be exciting.
Well, it's the way it goes these days. I mean, as we said before, many of these automatic, and they got a different names for them now these days. But many of these automatic boxes are just quicker than manual box anyway.
The
it takes some of the fun out of it, but it's quicker. So
the DSG in the Gulf is one of the best. and especially mated with the new all-wheel drive system with the torque vectoring in the rear end. I'm quite excited about that. So
Mhm.
that is something that I really, even though I've watched a lot of guys on YouTube drive the manual ones, and the manual one gurgles and pops just like the DSG version, and I will miss rowing through the gears because that has some enjoyment to it. But there's two main features
Yep.
that you don't
Yep.
get with the manual. You don't. It doesn't have the auto braking feature, the safety feature. That's one of them, and it can't do DSG launches. So there's that, and
Okay.
it
Yeah.
doesn't do rev matching. So go figure. All right, we got a lot to talk to you guys about. We got Joby, right? Joby.
Joby. Joby.
Joby had a crash, which sucks, but we're going to talk about not
Mhm.
the end of the world for them. It's actually could be a good thing. So they had a
Right.
crash. That kind of sucks. Matter of fact, it
Yep.
happened day of last show, so that kind of yes, right. Then we got Aptera
Mhm.
raced a couple of cars out there, and we've had a lot of people interested in Aptera, so that's awesome. But there's
Right.
some caveats there.
Yep. Some
Yeah, some
Aptera
Aptera
news.
news.
Yep.
Steam Deck. So Steam has released a compatibility list. Some good, some bad there, but that's more to talk about because hopefully here on the show next week we will have Steam Deck in hand because we should get the emails
Super
tomorrow, which will be
cool.
nice.
Super cool.
And then
Yeah. Super
Corey,
cool.
you found this great one on this company called Flowcopter, which is taking hydraulics to a new level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a different approach on drone tech, so we'll talk about that. It's yeah, we'll see what people think, and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
get
we'll
it,
get there.
taking hydraulics to
I know to do new height, new
to a new
pressures.
level.
You know,
I just
turning up the pressure on the drone market.
joke of the night. Go on. Like
Yeah.
much like okay. Hey, so we draw straws. No, we don't. We don't get. We just do it off the top of our heads. Who goes first? And this one, I guess I'm gonna lead off the night to get this one started. Coming to you guys, especially from one of our favorite places, New Atlas. Uh-oh, a little blurry. Like, all right, anyhow, this one's coming to you from New Atlas, and apparently Joby crashed one of their two eVTOL prototypes during some high-speed testing. And look, I mean, the article is pretty. I mean, here's the thing. Don't want to gloat. It's not like it's a great thing that they crashed. They had an accident. Basically, they were pushing this thing at about 270 miles an hour, 240 knots into some bank turns.
Mhm.
And what ended up
Mhm.
happening was it ate it, right? The end number was
Right.
November 542 Alpha Juliet. They were running in
Yep.
circles. They were doing the exact prescribed feat of what the FAA considers the proper thing to do, which is basically run it at 1.3 times VNE. And this is part of their experimental flight program, right? And it went
Yep.
down much like Jacob's aircraft in an uninhabited area, except they didn't go back and get the GoPro footage, not that we know of, or parachute out of it. However, sorry, had to. And the part of it is you have to take this with the good and the bad. This is envelope testing. This is what happens in the world. And for them, this might not be a bad thing because I guarantee they probably learned a lot of stuff and there was no injuries, and that's the best
Mhm.
part. What's your
Yep.
thoughts?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, on my end, remember that Joby is still in testing. There's nobody on board. This was, they're testing the automated flight envelope, which we've covered on the
Hmm.
channel before, talking about speed tests and endurance tests. But that's something to just point out, as you did too. This is part of certification for
Hmm.
airframes. So to see this in the news or in an article is, of course, initially you think, oh wow, they had a crash. But it's something just to know that deconstructive testing on airframes is totally nothing new.
Right.
You don't have to look very far at all. Just go look at anything that's getting certified, and there's deconstructive testing like built in. Where are the limits of the structures? What can you get away with in this airframe? Because they need to know that for certification purposes. Where is the envelope, as you mentioned?
Right.
Where exactly is the envelope for this airframe? And that's all normal stuff. You could go find videos on YouTube of Boeing strapping down literally wings of airplanes and just bending them up until they just
Sure.
break off. So if you've been, you guys been on an airliner, you sit next to the window and you look out and you see the turbulence and the wings are just going woo, woo,
What was
woo,
that?
and it's kind of nervous,
Yeah.
makes you a bit nervous. they've
Oh,
done
sure.
all that testing already, and those wings bend up pretty far before they go ping and snap. So, but anyway, deconstructive testing is nothing to be too alarmed at. It's really just to see, where did it fail. And as you said, they mentioned that it was above 270 miles per hour,
Right,
240
right, right.
knots, in some claims, some turns. We don't know how steep they were, but so I'm not too
No,
alarmed
and
by
look,
it.
we know that they were going out and doing this unmanned testing. They hadn't really loaded the aircraft with a lot of weight, so we were skeptical of their functionality. This doesn't break
Hmm.
my or increase or reduce my skepticism of the marketplace and eVTOLs as a general
Right. Yeah.
fact
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because this is an
Yeah.
inevitable part. Look, even the version of the Osprey, which is going to be the what is it, the 609 that was supposed to come to market, had a fatal crash. Okay,
Yes. Yep.
just about every major, yeah, a
Unfortunately,
lot of
yeah.
major airframe manufacturers go through stuff like this. Great part is nobody got hurt, right? But yeah.
Of course.
Now
Yeah.
the
Of
other thing
course.
is, did it affect their value? Right? No, it really didn't. They're still at a 2.8 billion-dollar company right now. Their stock is 4.7.
Yeah. I
Yeah, it
didn't
really
check.
didn't.
Yeah. What did it do last week between this week
Well,
and or that this and
outside of
now?
the market, they were up to about like $6, and they took a hit just after the news. It seems like it broke, but then again, the market's so topsy turvy with what's going on and everything else.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
there's a
you
lot
don't
going
really
on.
know if that was a contributing factor. However, right, I do want to say this. Uh, I know in a lot of times we do pick on this company a little bit because I say, hey, I want to see this thing fly. Great to
Mhm.
hear they were at roughly 240 knots when this happened, right?
Exactly.
That is
Exactly. Yeah.
actually pretty good to hear because again, on the channel, I've specified you need to be above 140 knots to really get into that smoother air ride of some of these aircraft to really make it worth your while to step on board and consider it to be a comfortable ride. And the fact that it happened then,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. If they're cruising, if their smooth air cruise is
yeah.
200 knots, hey, awesome. Like
That
that
works.
works.
And I
So
think and I think that also works really well for their potential in the marketplace to make a profit because that's also right at the space where hey, 200 knots in decent conditions, talking about maybe a 15 knot blustery day of winds. If you can
right.
maintain
Yep.
that like maybe 180 to 200, you're in good shape. You
Mhm.
could start making that distance between say like this coast and Tampa and being like, hey, you're going to
Mhm.
get this flight done in just under an hour at about,
Right.
5,000 feet on a good
Yep.
day. And that's money making, right?
Yeah. That's an air taxi. That's something you could say. Yeah. Yeah. The air taxi route.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
That's,
Especially if the price is right, as we have
yeah.
always said.
Right. At that point, if I like look down at my watch and I go, I want to go to Dunedin this afternoon and, it's a Friday night and you
Hmm.
go, well, I don't feel like driving the two and a
Yep.
half to 3 hours it's going to
Yep.
take. Hey, it's only a 49-minute flight. It's $50 to get across over on a Joby,
Exactly.
like or a Jet Aptera or something like that.
Unscheduled. Pack a backpack and head over to the vertiport and just go.
Yeah,
Perfect.
right? I don't need a car over there. I could Uber.
Mhm.
So now here's the other thing, though. I know a lot of people aren't familiar with the fact of what the FAA assumes that you're going to do when you're in this type of testing regime, right? They will investigate at some point. Now, the only place where I could see this becoming a negative is if they actually did something or there was a system that failed that caused the crash. Now, that would be the only time that I would see that this would be like
Right.
a problematic thing. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, exactly. We don't know. We don't know really what happened. All we know is some basic facts. The speed, it was banking, and you can see the air track here down
Yeah, I played it for a while. Yeah, I played it.
okay,
Yeah,
you played it. Cool.
on
Yeah.
their Twitter.
So that's all we can really glean from that. We don't have any of the specs on it. But as you said, FA is obviously going to look into it. That's what they do, and it's part of certification. So Joby's also obviously looking into it. Obviously, what they would be, but of course they're going to look at it too. So it just leaves to be seen. What the actual cause was, if it's a
Yeah, yeah,
setback or not.
sure. All right, folks, that's what we got for you on this one. Hey, let us know what you think in the comments below. You know, it's tough. It's tough news, but I don't think this is game
Mhm.
over for them by any means of the imagination. I think if this is really just a true, hey, we pushed it too far, thing broke, and that's exactly what it was supposed to do, and,
Mhm.
and we've learned a limit. Great, they're gonna survive this. It'll be great. So good for them. And let us know what you think in the comments below about their accident. And
Mhm.
like, subscribe,
Yep,
and
yep.
follow. That'd be awesome. We would very
Very
much
much
appreciate it.
appreciated.
And again, if the tone is a little different on that one, it's because it's like you don't want to. Nobody's you're like, okay. Let me say one last thing. This has been a tragic week for
Sure.
aviation and helicopters, right? So there's a tone of that too, because there's been about 4 different crashes, a couple of them have been fatals, and it kind of sucks. And it just reminds you of the fact that aviation and pushing this envelope, when you decide to put humans on board this thing, it's important to keep
Yep.
that boundary of understanding that nobody got hurt. Great, but it's still a tough industry to crack into because this is what you're up against: real world crashes, right?
Yep. Stuff happens.
Not always the good stuff. So, all right, like, subscribe, follow us, and know what you think below. All right. Corey's going to
Excellent.
take us on a little ride now. The question, we didn't discuss this before, but do you want to show the race first, or what do you want to do?
I'm gonna start talking about it, and then you can show
Okay,
it if you
so
want.
go
Yeah.
ahead. So Corey's going to take us on a little ride.
Taking another rat. Cool. So this next one comes to us from the
Hmm.
Rob Report. It revisits a conversation we've talked about Aptera before, and it's that solar-powered EV out of California we've talked before on the channel. And this one actually, the headline is Aptera's solar-powered EV smokes the Tesla Model 3 and an Audi R8 GT in a drag race. Okay, so headlines, definitely want you to click them. But so if you're not really up to speed on the Aptera, again, it's an all-wheel drive. Well, the test mule is an all-wheel drive two-seater, and it was there's a video there. Of course, Mike's going to show that, but it's a pretty cool thing. You guys should definitely go check it out because basically, it's so aerodynamic, and they've integrated solar panels into it, and it's obviously made of really good materials. It's got a monocoque chassis, and they're claiming that it can go about 1,000 miles on a
Hmm.
charge because it's so efficient with the weight, but also the aerodynamics and the solar panels on board, generating about 700 watts in good sun. And of course, we talk about speed, or as it would be, how quick a car is, acceleration wise. Power to weight ratios, it's got a decent amount of power, so it'll get up and go. And of course, there's the video that it's not slow. So if you want an EV that's not slow, we know many EVs are also quick because of just the nature of electronic
Right.
motors and torque. But the Aptera, there you go, it's quick too. It's quick on any measurement
Right.
there. So yeah, long and short of it, if you don't know about it, you can go check out the website. But it's a pretty cheap, 25,000, 26,000 for the base model. You guys should go check it out because it talks about the website will guide you kind of through how much sunlight do you get and all that for your area. And anyway, yeah, I mean, Mike, the Aptera is still looking good. Would you considering buying one? Probably not now that you got to go far on
Yeah,
tap.
so
But what do you think,
here's the
man?
problem. I look. I think it's great. I showed the video where you were talking. Right, it's awesome. Great little race.
Hmm.
I'm gonna retitle this, which is Aptera wishes it could beat a Tesla Model 3, and I'm gonna tell you why. There's no
Hmm.
full body on this thing, so we're looking at the screenshot of it right now, right?
It's
Yeah,
a
it's a
test mule,
test
yeah.
mule, right? This thing is not in full trim to be roadworthy, right? No full body. It's not full specifications. There's not glass in it. There's no doors. Okay, there is two
Hmm.
quote unquote humans, as you can see in the picture, right?
Yeah, the
But
people on board, yeah.
this didn't do anything to bolster my opinion to say that this is the EV to beat in any way, shape, or form, because it raced
Hmm.
a full production version of a Tesla Model 3. I I
Sure.
bet, and or I will say, when you laden this thing down with the extra possible 3 or 4 or possibly even 5 to 600 pounds that it's going to need to be roadworthy, it's not a survivor. It doesn't win this race anymore, right? It maybe gets you the 1,000 mile range, but it doesn't win this race.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, if you talk again, power to weight ratio, sure. If you take the Aptera and you throw the rest of the body on there, we know it's already made of pretty light materials. But someone could certainly say, oh well, there's no front on it, so it's how slippery it is. It's how aerodynamic it is of course totally out the window. It's just literally no front on it. So
Hmm.
okay, it'll get a bit more aerodynamic when you actually have a full body on it, of course. But then it's more weight, blah blah blah. But nevertheless, the headline was that it couldn't beat the those two cars in the drag race. So that's what they wanted you to see.
Right.
So they're controlling their PR. Obviously, no big surprise there. I am still following the Aptera. It's a pretty cool design, and really trying to maximize the efficiency. We've talked about it on here before, talking about we are just cautiously optimistic how well the Aptera's vehicle would function in all the places, and let's say in America in this case, all the places in America where it may be driven.
Hmm.
We're talking about places that don't have quite as well prepared roads or maintained roads, and all those things. We know we've had comments before that people have said, well, we're not giving the car enough credit. It's obviously going to be quite strong with how it's designed. Um, we're not discounting that. We're just saying we just hope it's as robust as other cars would be when they hit full production. Again, being able to be driven anywhere in not great conditions. So,
Right.
but nevertheless, yeah, I'm still interested to follow it. So yeah.
Right. So here's the thing. So the model, the one that did beat. So here's the other part of it is you don't know which model because it doesn't look the one that was racing on the lower portion of the race. Right. It doesn't look like a full production version of the Aptera. And the one that actually
Right.
was as fast as the Spyder that beat the Tesla was damn well nowhere near a version of a production version of the vehicle. So I know a lot of people are going to say, "Well, you don't know what you're talking about, Mike. It looked like that thing, the one that raced the actual Tesla, had full body panels." Yeah, it looked like it, but it didn't look like the full production version that they sell to you or that you see in the actual Aptera um, website, right? So
Yeah, of
that's
course.
what I'm
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
criticizing. So
Yep.
the really fast one was great at being fast, although it was a stripper, right? So it better
Okay.
be
Okay.
fast, right?
Sure. Sure.
And the other one didn't look like it was still nearly production ready material. That's my point. So don't pull me apart, people. If you want to say, Mike, you're a fool, you don't understand. It's not, the one that looked down there looked like it was full production. No, it didn't, because this full production version, which is on screen right now, looks much more full bodied. It looks like it's a more complete version of the vehicle with the windows in a different configuration. It's
Sure.
just
Yeah.
different,
Yeah.
right?
It's gonna have more weight on there. Maybe not a whole lot. We don't know, but it definitely has more weight for sure.
Sure, sure. Okay, so
It would
let's just
seem.
say
Yeah.
that. Okay, you got anything else to add on that one?
No. 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 Yeah. I think as we have just real briefly revisited Aptera, we're still interested in it, and to see what happens when these are actually starting to be delivered, and we can maybe have
Yep.
some actual new news on it as far as the production ones that are out, like. Um, and then yeah, yeah. So no, nothing there. It's good for them, nice video, but we'll just wait and see what the
There you go.
what delivery ones have.
There you go.
So Mike, got anything else?
No, I don't. I've said my piece.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So again, thanks so much for that little thing there. If you guys got any comments on Aptera or what you think of it, or if you're interested in it, we know many of you have been interested in the past. Please let us know down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. You guys know the deal. And thanks so
Yeah,
much.
I for the first time in one of the shows I screwed up. I actually forgot which one was live, and I actually was still messing with one of the screens before I showed the other one. I think
Oh,
that's
really?
kind of fun. Good times.
Nice,
Okay,
nice.
I'm gonna take it from here.
Do
So
it.
this is real interesting. This
Do
part's
it.
really cool. Corey and I have talked about this at length. We were sitting at lunch in July. We went out for somebody's birthday. I think it was right. I can't remember.
Yeah,
We
I think
yeah,
it
we went
was.
downtown Orlando. We're having some nice, great Asian fusion food. It was awesome.
Mhm.
We're sitting there. I got my iPad out and I'm banging away on the iPad, going, I want to order the Steam Deck. And within 16 minutes, we had a confirmed order of the Steam. So
Yeah.
we should be able to have a Steam Deck in hand. They say that the situation is that the Steam Deck pre-orders, if you had one pre-ordered, tomorrow, the 25th, you will get an email that says, would you like to commit to your full exercise, your right to purchase it, right? That's awesome.
Would you like to know
Yeah,
more?
would you like to know more, kind of thing, right? So
Yes, please.
here's the other part of it, though. That means that now we're getting down to the nitty gritty with the Steam Deck of itself is what's compatible. Now, so far, what's compatible is not a full library of what Steam games you might consider. Matter of fact, they're
Mhm.
saying that the top 5 games on Steam Deck right now are actually not playable, which is okay because it depends on what you're looking to play on the actual system. They do have this new website called Steam Deck Verified, which you basically go to when you
Yep.
log in.
Yep.
and it will tell you which games are verifiable playable right now in the actual Steam library. Now they give you 4 categories.
Right.
They give you verified, which means it's going to run on the Steam Deck right out of the box. Playable, which means that the game will play, but you might need some tweaking. Unsupported means it's currently not functional. And lastly is unknown. They haven't tried it. Give it your best shot. What's your best shot at this?
Mhm. Yeah, so we haven't kind of followed the Steam Deck for a long time. We've there's been many handheld games, and of course we're gamers, and we've Nintendos and a whole bunch of other stuff, Game Boys, and all going all the way back. So mobile gaming is definitely has a lure to it. Maybe less now that we're busy with other things, but nevertheless, the Steam Deck's pretty cool. And Steam, obviously, if you're not familiar with Steam, online place to buy games. There's just tons and tons of games in there, and it's one of the major suppliers of an online purchase place where you can buy games. So the fact that they have their own device out now that's supported, and we've talked about the internals before, it's got some great internals. Quite exciting. Been a bit delayed, but yeah, you should know more tomorrow, and we should hear something. But nevertheless, the compatibility bit, we've briefly touched on it before about their Proton technology, basically an emulator that lets the Steam Deck run Steam games that may or may not have been built for such a thing to be compatible. And that technology, again, it's called Proton. It's going to receive more compatibility updates as they continue. So we're guessing more games will become available to be played on the Steam Deck. So that's exciting. I'll kind of say the same thing I said before. Certainly going to be super cool to have games in your hand and play them wherever you are. If you guys are out there watching this video and you're thinking about competitive stuff, I still am pretty skeptical about anyone running to play extreme competitive games on it just because of
You're going way too
latency
far
and
in that
stuff.
one, yeah.
But hey, it's just what crosses my mind. But nevertheless, you guys should check out the link. I posted it down there as far as compatibility goes. If you're interested in picking up a Steam Deck whenever they become available, you can see if your games that you have in your library right now would function on it again right now with the updates as it will have today.
And remember something, right? Steam has come forward and said basically they've already produced a video saying how you would crack this thing open to replace the joysticks. Okay. They did release the 3D models online so people could 3D print accessories that they want.
Yeah.
Right?
That was cool. Yeah.
So they're looking at building basically what I would consider a great homebrew community, right? And I think the homebrew community is going to do great things with Steam Deck, even if Steam itself can't support it. Now, they've even said that they're not limiting Steam Deck to running just their launcher, right? However, their launcher is Linux based and it's 4 gigabytes. However, watched a couple videos on YouTube, and credit goes to the people out there that have been doing their homework. They say, look, you might not want to dual boot this thing to run any natural born installers on a Windows environment, because the Windows environment is going to be like an 18 gig install compared to the 4 gig. And this hardware is not really optimized to take advantage of a straight up run of a Windows install, right? So it's going to take up quite a bit of storage. And I know there was some speculation in the beginning that you may not want to use the micro SD to run all your games off of, but now they're saying that the micro SD is almost flawlessly compatible with all the other systems. So I think I'm going to actually have a second card that I'm going to create a dual boot on. So I'll have one card that's going to basically just be an accessory to the main library, and then I'm going to have another one that's going to possibly, if I can, be hot swappable to have a dual boot. And then that way I can have the best of both. But homebrew Fiesta is what I'm thinking in the next 6 months. Everything's going to be playable, whether you think about it or not.
Yeah, and if you guys are familiar with Steam in general, you may know that some games you have played in your Steam library, they also may have, maybe not, but may have a Steam workshop linked into that game there. And basically, that's exactly what it kind of sounds like. It's a workshop where player-created content can be added to the game, and it's like natively supported within Steam itself. So yeah, you're kind of right that Steam is happy to kind of partner up with the players. They're going to give you the hardware. We're going to get have support for that, and let the player base run with it and see what they can come up with. And yeah, I would say as we've had other consoles or other handhelds in the past, that you kind of get what you get, and whatever runs. The Steam Deck's not going that direction. So it is pretty exciting to see what people will be able to do with this device, a year from now. So yeah,
a couple of games that I'm excited that I know I would like to play. Circuit Superstars is one in my library that I really enjoy. That'll be a lot of fun. That's that great little micro racing game. And then
Mhm.
the next one would be actually Astroneer. I'm looking forward to actually taking
Yes.
that on the
Yep.
road. So there's a couple of other games out there that are really in the top of my library that I would like to enjoy. And and just the other ones that I don't or may not know that are compatible that are in there would just be great to have around, right?
Mhm.
Now, supposedly playable right now, Halo Infinite. I know I saw it on a list, which is one of the games I would
Yes.
love to
Yep.
just be able to do some. I don't think I'd go into say multiplayer so much,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just to
Campaign.
be sitting around on the couch, I don't have time to boot up an Xbox or to sit in front of the TV, or we go somewhere,
Exactly.
we're away for the weekend and kids in sleep, the wife is getting ready to relax on the couch, and I think I'll just play the
Yep.
Steam Deck for a little bit and play some Halo.
Yep.
All right, that'd be
Yep.
nice.
Yep. Yeah. Anybody out there, if you guys haven't played Deep Rock Galactic, I would
Ah,
like to check out Deep Rock
yeah.
Galactic on the Steam Deck. I think that'd be super
Oh,
cool.
yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah,
Oh,
that would be
how about
yeah.
Carrier Commander too? That'd be awesome. That would be a lot of
Mhm.
fun. We were pretty heavy in that game just in the fall.
Yep.
And
Yep.
what's the other one that we used to play with the God, where you have to try to get off the planet and people get eaten by creatures and you have to build your walls and your houses and oh God, we had a whole civilization running to try to build the spaceship.
Oh, RimWorld. RimWorld.
RimWorld, yeah, RimWorld would be another
Yep.
good one to just kind
Yep.
of mess
Yep.
around with. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. So
Mhm.
anything else to throw on top of that one?
Uh, it may be a bit of a segue,
Oh,
but I'll kick it and then you can carry it. But I'd say I wonder how Cyberpunk was going to run on the Steam Deck, because and I think just for me, I think it'd be interesting to see how it would run. But also maybe the screen's a bit too small for me. I kind of like a bigger screen to see all those
hmm.
nice details. But what do you think about Cyberpunk on the Steam Deck or Steam?
I think that's awesome. So Corey's alluding to the fact there's an article out here by Electrico that says Elon Musk Tesla is working on making basically Steam video games work on its vehicles. Now look, he does it the way that I would do it, the way that you would do it, and I think that's the charm about Elon Musk is that he just kind of takes what he knows is basically his neural net monster car with all that computing power and goes, well, will it Doom? Because he got it to play Doom, and I
Of
guess
course.
guess he's
Will it
yeah, will it
do?
Doom? But he's not.
Will it
I
Crisis?
don't know. Well, that would even be better, right? So we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, why not? I mean, would that be too much of a distraction though? Do you think if your car could suddenly play your Steam library, would you be like, okay, this is too much. I really need to pay attention, or would you be pissed off to know that it would be like only 2022 models and above could actually play the Steam library because they would just grandfather your car out of it without an update? Would that?
Okay, yes. So the caveats there for me. My car, I do have a Tesla Model
Mhm.
3. It definitely will not play these games. I have the older computer. I didn't get all the upgrades for full self driving, so I don't have the upgraded computer. So this wouldn't be for me for sure. Nevertheless, though, I don't know, man. Honestly, if my car could play my Steam library, it's like you get in your car and you enjoy driving and you enjoy the
Mhm.
drive going
Yeah.
somewhere. That's fun. I enjoy driving. I know that some people have asked me, "Why'd you get a Tesla that's, eventually supposed to drive itself if you like driving a driver's car?" Well, it does drive pretty nice. It's pretty quick, it's electric, blah 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 blah. So that doesn't really worry me too much that my car doesn't have full self driving, and that's a whole other conversation, and blah blah blah. But there you go. But I'd want to drive my car, and then I know me, I can't multitask very well outside of the game, right? When I'm in the game, I can
Oh, okay.
I'm in the
Okay.
game,
Okay.
I'm immersed in the game, and I'm usually get pretty good at the game, know all the mechanics and the ins and outs of how everything works, and great. But I would honestly, I wouldn't want to be in the car playing my Steam games, any games, while the car is in motion. It's just not a thing. I just wouldn't do that.
Well, it's kind of funny because I was gonna say you can't tell me you
Nope.
can't multitask because you and I have literally sat across from each other in aircraft, either helicopters or airplanes, literally
Yeah,
flying them.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, no, you multitask
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah,
I get it.
but it's like
I,
I'm in the
no,
box of the
I get it.
aircraft,
I get
right?
it. It's the thinking mind frame. I get it.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, true, true, true. Hey, folks.
So,
It could be a big distraction. Yes, I get that.
yeah.
Well, hey, let us know what you think in the comments below about the Steam Deck
Mhm.
and the possible Tesla gaming rig from hell, which would be awesome. And my guess is you'll
Yeah.
actually see it. I think it'd be funny. Let us know in the comments below what you think, and we'll come on
Mhm.
back to you guys. And hopefully, Steam Deck. I you know that it was delayed. I've
Yeah,
been waiting and
yeah.
waiting and waiting. So let's see what happens. Okay.
My last thing for that, just to throw it in there, is if you guys go down in this electric article a little bit, you'll see that videocards.com has compared these alleged specs of the Tesla AMD
Mm,
card. It's an AVI 23 AVI
mhm,
card to some other things like the PS5, Xbox Series X, and you can see some of those actual like how it
mm.
compares. And you can see like actual GPU power. It's literally on par with the PS5.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Here's the
Um,
little table
10
below. Yeah, that
teraflops.
actually is pretty cool.
The cores and the memory, like actually the memory, okay, it's not exactly the same. Bandwidth of memory certainly not the same as far as dedicated consoles, but nevertheless, the just the pure horsepower of, let's say, just the GPU in this case, it's up there. It's decent.
Except for the
I don't know.
price.
It'd just be crazy to, if people are sitting in the car playing like Cyberpunk
Right.
2077.
Right. Right. Right.
I mean, okay, wow, it's crazy. Um,
They also complain.
so I
They
don't
also
know.
compared it to the KFC console. Comes with a chicken
I do
chamber.
see that.
That's great.
I do. I do see
They
that. Yeah, yeah.
whereas the Tesla actually comes with a car, which it's actually the other way around. The car comes with a
Yeah, it's
game.
funny how they compare it.
Yeah.
Like, how much is it console? How much is the
Yeah.
Xbox? 300. How much is the Tesla Arcade? 80,000.
Yeah. Right.
Because it's a
It's
car. It's just funny.
okay, folks. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and we've got one more for you,
Hmm.
coming to you from Corey, and I will let him
Hmm.
take it away from there.
Sure. Yeah, cool. So this next one, it comes to us from New Atlas. We've been, we like New Atlas, and they got an article here that says the Flowcopter begins testing the world's first hydraulic multicopter. So basically, you guys know, let's take a quad. Traditional quads are either powered by electric motors at each of the propellers on each one of the corners, or they can be powered other ways through belts and chains, or of course, petrol internal combustion power plants. And there's different ways to do that, of course. But this is one where I thought might be interesting to share with you guys, because basically what it is it's a quad, a large quad, but they have a Rotax internal combustion powered power plant on
Mm-hmm.
board that powers some digitally controlled hydraulic pumps
Right.
that then feed that hydraulic pressure to the rotors, and that's how it actually flies. It's a internal combustion power plant powering hydraulic pumps. And I thought that was interesting enough to share and read a bit more about. But basically, they're saying that it's claiming they have on their prototypes that 6 hours endurance on a full tank of gas and a range of about 560 miles. And of course, aviation. We know, is it carrying, how much payload is it carrying, how fast does it go? There's certainly more fill in the blank things to find out about that. But they claim things like 150 kilograms of payload for short hops, 900 kilometers of range with lighter payloads, like they say, for instance, like medical, like if they need to transfer blood for some reason, blood
Mm-hmm.
transfusion, uh, they could do that. So it's pretty interesting. There's some videos that you can show if
I
you
just
want.
showed it.
It's seems to be we're not there's nothing that you can buy or anything so far, but there's some interesting things about them. The pumps, like 129 horsepower of output per
Mm.
propeller per hydraulic pump, and they only weigh 12 pounds. So you're getting some pretty good return on the power. And that's actually the last thing I'll say too. That they're claiming obviously that power to weight ratio is definitely really really good, because it's saying it's up to 20 times what it would be in a comparable powered electric quad of the size. So I mean, what do you think, man? What about this comparison of how the design versus the current drones? Let's say for cargo drones this
I
size. I mean, until batteries have a huge change in battery density. I mean, what are you
I
thinking, man?
think, well, if you watch the flight demonstration, it's a little wobbly. That's because they have to work out the technology of basically getting around the costly use of a transmission for having a sole power plant, right? So you would have to, if you wanted to do this with a turbine with some sort of costly transmissions and geared drives in order to get this done, and you wanted to do it efficiently, then that would be part of the thing that you would have to do. Unless
Hmm.
you use maybe bleed air from a turbine that would maybe go through piccolo tubes or something like that, and then be controlled through some valving or braking system for each rotor. So it's very difficult to get that equilibrium through 4 different rotors through a hydraulic system. And they're going to work out the bugs on that, right?
Right,
This thing
right.
could be super rugged, though, right? It could probably take a beating because the maintenance costs on a hydraulic based system, which is basically valving and some electrical control
Hmm.
components to control the valving, pretty simple. But
Right.
two things. It ain't going to be flying over your neighborhood or you won't be happy because it's going to be noisy. Right? This thing is
Yeah.
not going to be the one that's going to
Yeah.
be quiet because it ain't going to be engineered for, hey, let's be quiet and make most
Mhm.
efficiency here. This thing already to me sounds like it's going to be fairly noisy, and that's going to be something that you're probably never going to get around. But the maintenance should be a snap.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. Yeah.
here's the thing. If I'm putting a camera up there and I need it up there for 6 hours and I'm not really, concerned about payload weight and so on and so forth, could be fantastic.
Mhm.
I don't know where I would send this though, right? I don't know where it really fits in. 6-hour fly time. Like, what's the real use for it? I'm kind of stuck on the use case, right? Um,
Right. They talk about some use cases on their
mhm,
website. Applications is they call it applications. They talk about using it for offshore. They talk about search and rescue. They talk about delivery. These are all cargo things.
mhm,
They talk about law enforcement, as you said, like loiter time to loiter over certain like a HVT or the car chase or something like that. Just have a bit more endurance for something with that case. And then of course ag, depending again how payload if you want to spray
right.
something. But I guess again going back to it though, right? If you have this thing even carrying a heavy load, let's say ag for example, and you got a bunch of fluid to spray, and then it needs to be recharged or refilled. You just land it and put avgas or aviation, whatever fuel this particular engine is using. It's a Rotax. I saw it on the website, but whatever it happens to be using, and it's ready to go again. I mean, there's no recharging of batteries. One other thing too, we've talked many times about like usable
Mhm,
weight. Batteries are just dead weight once they're used up and then out of charge. They still weigh something. So this kind of gets back to the thing about airplanes and that use, gasoline or avgas or if it's Jet A or whatever. That weight goes away as you burn it.
right.
So that does have an effect on performance. So that's something interesting, to keep in mind when you're talking about some new maybe way to power this kind of vehicle. So yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing, right? They're saying that they have a payload of about 150 kilograms, right? Which
Yeah.
by converting that looks like to me it's about 330 pounds. Now you don't know if that's with fuel, without fuel, wet, what it is. Secondly, they don't turn around and tell you basically at this point if it's killing. Okay, if they're saying it's payload, it could be 330 pounds total. Great. I don't have a VNE number,
Right.
right?
Yeah. We don't know
You
any
don't know any
speed. Yeah.
speeds. So it
Yeah.
would be
Right.
impossible for you to say, now let's say they say, oh, it can hover unassisted for 6 hours. Awesome. How
Okay.
far can it go
Okay.
away from you though in that 6 hours? Because if you turn around and you say that my VNE is like 80 knots, well, that just changed the whole ball game, right? I really need to know the VNE because if they say my VNE is probably 140, that's awesome. Because that means I could literally go super far out into the Gulf of Mexico. I could go on a super long-term chase with a
Mhm.
helicopter and I could do this stuff and I could probably keep up with another car. But if they say, hey, VNE is 60 knots, well, that means you're gonna burn a lot of energy getting 120 miles somewhere and only know that you're gonna have to go 120 miles to come back, and that's gonna take you 4 hours round trip, and that's with a 2-hour safety margin. So you might be able to extend that say a little bit more, right? So that
Mhm.
changes the functionality. So I want to see what that they're a little shy on that information, right?
Yeah. I guess I'm just thinking, let's say just offshore, right? If you needed like something that weighed, I don't know, 100
Mhm.
pounds and the rig is 50 miles off the coast, it's automated, let's say, they just fill it up, send it off, and, no matter what time of day or
Mhm.
night it is, as long as the weather's suitable to have it go out there on its own, it lands on the rig, they offload it, they refuel it and pace, return to home, and then they walk away. So I could see some interest for it, especially as you said, the maintenance. If the maintenance is, and again, it's. I guess that's the last thing I'll say too. For my part, is they're using things that are kind of a bit proven, not in this
Mhm.
package, but station approved. Aircraft, engine, power plant. Okay, they have obviously hydraulics. We know hydraulics work. These digital displacement pumps that they are using in this. That's been borrowed from off. What am I trying to say? Um, it's been borrowed from other applications for off-road
Off-road
use.
vehicles.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't get that out.
Okay.
But off-road vehicles, yeah. So they're things that are they're pulling from other places and putting
Right.
them together. So yeah, I'm interested to see where it kind of goes because it's technology that has been proven in its own place, but not in this package. So yeah.
And the package is important, right? Look, if they manage to pull this off, hydraulics being the primary
Mhm.
functioning, right? This thing could be durable. It could be really durable,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I could see it really fulfilling a role. I don't know if it fulfills the roles that they're specifying in their application. That's what I'm saying. I want to like great if it only goes 40 knots. Hey man, it could spray all day long over a field,
Mhm.
right? It can loiter over. It could replace the Goodyear blimp over a sporting event like the 500 or something. That's great, right? It will take over some of those duties. Ain't gonna be quiet, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it will have that ability. You're not gonna see this in an urban environment at its current noise levels. My prediction. All right,
And
that's
we
just
got
me.
like frost patrol, over a farm for keeping crops from freezing.
Great,
And you got like 3 of these over your crops.
right?
I mean, you just fill them up and hey, go keep my crops from freezing and done.
Right.
So I can see some use if it works. If it works out, yeah. If it's reliable as well, yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
Awesome. Hey, great
yeah.
find though. I think it's gonna be real interesting.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yep.
So again, thanks so much for hanging out with us. What do you guys think of this concept? Have you seen drones or things that are kind of powered like this before? And what do you think? Do you have a company or a use case for one of these? And what do you think?
There you go.
Let us know in the comments below. Thanks so much. And we do other things too, aviation and space. So like, share, subscribe. You guys know the deal. We appreciate all the support.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. We had a great time with the show today. We look
Mhm.
forward to getting some more episodes out. Now, look, we haven't cut up a lot of episodes lately because I have a lot of stuff going on, so I had to take care of it. But there's gonna be some episodes going to be edited, dropped in new videos here and there. So look for that, and we'll see what goes on there for you guys.
Excellent.
And thanks for the support, YouTube. We appreciate it. We'll be back again next Thursday.
Thank you so
All
much.
right,
Take it
take care,
easy, guys.
guys. Bye
Yeah.
bye. Later.
Bye bye.
See ya.
Bye bye.
See ya. All right, folks. Thanks so much. Take
Take it
care.
easy.
Peace. Bye bye.